What's up, everyone, and welcome to another episode of LunarCRUSH Live. We've got a special one today here for you with charity. We're going to do some charity stuff, and we've got the guys from Safe Haven that have kindly put this thing together for us and organized it. But first, John, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm drinking coffee. I'm waking up. Went for a run this morning. I'm feeling really good today. How about you?
Good. I do wish that Bitcoin was just a little bit higher for the morning here, but that's all good. We're gonna get through this together. So everyone knows we're gonna have some donate links that are gonna be put on here. I'm gonna drop these into the comment section so you guys know how to get in here and donate. So I'm just posting it right now into the chat. Here's the donate links. You can donate to either one of these links. And what you're going to have to do is take a screenshot of your donation. And that once in here, I'm sending it right now in the chat. It's admin@safetech.io. Once we see the confirmation that you've donated, you're going to be entered to win a LunarCRUSH T-shirt. So we're going to give 4 LunarCRUSH T-shirts away. So there's going to be 4 winners. So make sure you get in there and donate. And we're donating to Digital for Children. So, in these times with COVID, there's a lot of children out there that don't have access to technology, and they're kind of struggling to go to school. And so we want to donate to help others kind of get the technology, get the computer and the hardware necessary so that they can get back up and running. So really excited about that. And without further ado, let's bring the guys from Safe Haven up on. Boom, Logino, Thomas.
Hey.
What's up, guys?
Hey guys, how are you?
We're good. We're good. How are you? How y'all doing today?
Pretty well, thank you. We're celebrating.
Yes. Yeah. Tell us.
Happy birthday.
Tell us what's going on. It's the 3rd birthday. Tell us a little bit about the history. Like 3rd birthday is pretty good, man. I would say a lot of projects don't even make it that far.
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
That's right. So it's the 3rd birthday of Safe Haven today. We launched back in 2017, and we are really proud to still be around in the space. We have seen highs, we have seen lows, but we kept building, and here we are. So we are celebrating with the entire team today.
Very cool. Celebrating all across the world, right?
All across the world.
Yeah, the whole community, everybody.
Cool. And I see our Shaman's already coming into the chat. I know we had Thomas on before, and I love that you guys have this kind of like hardcore following that have named themselves, and you can always tell a good project when you have that. So just so everyone knows, just give us just a quick background so everyone knows what Safe Haven does. We love the project. We think what you guys are working on is really cool. We think it's a vital piece to the ecosystem. So just give us the rundown.
Okay, so we started back in 2017 as a project solely focusing on digital inheritance. We launched on Ethereum, but in 2018 we switched from Ethereum to VeChain, and we decided together with Sunny Lou from VeChain and our advisors to broaden up our scope. And since then we've been building several solutions like wallets, charity platforms, fundraising platforms, digital keys and stuff like that. So we've been doing a lot, and most of all it's in the DeFi sector. But like you said, our core business still is Inherity, which is our digital inheritance solution, which has been of a crucial part this year with everything going on. And this is what we are focusing on right now.
That's great. That's great.
Would love to hear more about where that's at.
We launched our community edition in September 25. And now we are building our standard edition, which is more open to people not really related to cryptocurrencies, blockchain technology, and stuff like that. And in early Q1 2021, we will release our business edition, who is being integrated in several standard providers in the market, traditional providers in the market. So everyone will be able to inherit his Bitcoins, Facebook passphrases, stuff like that, without even knowing we are using blockchain technology. And this is something I'm really looking forward to be honest.
Love it. It's amazing. Yeah, it's actually, I mean, it's such a missing piece of what the narrative is out there. If you're going to hold on to your coins, you got to do something with them. And I love what you guys are doing. So good job.
Thank you.
There's a barrier there, and the barrier is the education part of it, and knowing about how to access cryptocurrency, or via seeds and passwords and stuff like that. And what we're trying to deliver, in that both we have a solution that delivers such safely decentralized, okay, while maintaining the ability, while the user, I should say, maintains their own safety and security. And as well as the platform will have, a guiding aspect, a guiding principle to those who are merging the whatever it is that someone is storing on their safe keys, or etc. It's the idea of being able to bridge that gap that we don't, that we're not seeing so much in the space right now, which is talking about gains, and then talking about where those gains go if you don't get to use those gains. So it's bridging, right. It's bridging that gap. We're a niche within a niche almost, but we're making progress. So this is good.
It's been fun for us to watch you guys grow and watch the community grow. So happy birthday. Congrats on all the success. And we're glad that, you guys reached out to us to put this thing on and raise a little bit of money. And I know we wanted to have a little bit of fun on this. And so we had a couple of kind of fun questions that we wanted to ask everyone as they kind of cycle through here. And, and maybe Logino, will start with you. So this is, we'll go through a couple of questions. We're going to ask these to everyone today, but okay. If you could ask Satoshi one question, what would it be?
What would it be? I would ask him if he could reinvent Bitcoin 10 years later. So I could jump in like 2 years ago. So this, it's amazing what he has done, and this is a question I would ask. I remember in 2009, 2010, someone was talking to me about Bitcoin, and I started my first business. And honestly, I was short of cash. I was starting a business. I was all in. And this guy came to me. He said, this is something new, Bitcoin. You should read into it. And I was like, I don't know. It's like digital money, stuff like that. I didn't really trust it. And look at me now. I'm in the space since 2016. And if I could ask him one question, it would be, please reinvent Bitcoin 10 years later. So, yeah.
I love it. That's a good one. And then we're just going to cycle through these. Logino, again with you. Did you pick up a new hobby in 2020?
Not really, honestly. Not really. My hobby is
no painting, no nothing, huh?
Well, it's quite funny. Last year in December, I was gaining some weight, and my wife told me, she said you had to do something about it. And I said, okay, let's start doing some exercising. And I started last year in December 1, and I lost like 10 kilograms in weight. And then COVID hit, and most people say, yes, COVID, you have time to exercise. And it was the whole different way. I gained back like 10 or 12 kilograms. No new hobby for me, no.
Great. Okay, and then last one. What is the question that your family will ask this holiday season about crypto or crypto in general? So the non-crypto folks that you see over the holidays, if you're going to see a couple of people, if you're going to Zoom with them, make sure you're keeping that distance. What's the question that they always continue to ask?
100%. They will ask, is it a good time to buy Bitcoin right now?
Yep.
100%. Yeah.
I love it. Well, that's great. All right, Thomas, your turn. If you could ask Satoshi one question, what would it be?
I'd actually like to know how long he hypothesized, if you will, about and brainstormed about bringing something to masses, those especially unbanked, that became, I don't know exactly what his vision was, maybe, solely the decentralized currency aspect of it, but there's so many things that it has now branched into. Did you know that it was going to be for the unbanked? Did you know that it was going to, be adopted eventually, or was your intent, for it to eventually become adopted by institutions and stuff like that? I mean, he had to see that of coming in some way, shape, or form. If there was going to be some value in it, the way that capitalism works, you would expect that, you would expect that he kind of brainstormed further than just the code.
Yeah, I think that's a really good one. And then, did you pick up a hobby in 2020?
2020, did I pick up a hobby? You know, I don't know. I think is going to the grocery store at 6 a.m. a hobby? Is that a thing? Because that's what I've been doing. I mean, you know, 2020 has been one heck of a year for everybody. I think hobbies, as far as we go, you know, trying to find time. I think my hobby has been trying to find time, because there's just never enough time in the day to get done what needs to get done. So I guess maybe that's a poor answer, but finding time has been a hobby of mine, trying to find the time to, you know, work Safe Haven and build and continue to meet the demand that we needed to have, and the you know, the demand we have in the space, but then also manage your own household.
Yeah, I guess that's a good variation on the question is what did you change in your patterns, or what did you start doing differently in 2020? That's good.
I think, yeah. What did you start doing different? You know, because it's such a change for everybody.
Yeah, and it was like the first couple of weeks of everything kind of happening. It was, you know, I think there was a lot of space for people to try to figure it out, and then it's almost like you got busier. You know, it's like things got busier. Exactly. There was some grace in the beginning of this where people were like, "Oh, stay home, do this," and you know, even the teachers were like, you know, I feel, you know, the parents felt for the teachers and everything else, and now everyone's just mad at each other. But we'll save that for later time.
I want to chime in here and say, I don't think there's ever been a better time in history to build. Like, here we are, and all those things you used to do. You used to drive around way more than you thought you did. You used to maybe take your kids to school. You'd actually go out on Friday and Saturday night. You know, like, now we're building. And I think that's amazing, right? I mean, probably accomplished more this year than maybe you ever have in a different way.
Right. You know, I mean, there's maybe 100 miles I've put on my car in the last 8 months. I don't even know.
Yeah. Literally have spider webs on them. Okay, quick, Thomas, what is the one question your family always asks you about crypto?
Well, it's going to be what Logino had brought up, which is, you know, now is a good time. I'll tell them that it's always a good time and they won't do it anyway. But, you know, they start to get into the technical aspect of it. Like, you know, well, how do you hold it? You know, well, do you physically hold it? And I'm like, no, you don't physically hold it like a Bitcoin in your hands. You know, so it's normally like, how do you, the question would be, how do you spend it? How do you use it? You know, that's where the non-cryptos are really going to come into place. Like, how do you even get it? You know, where do you start? But
very cool. All right. And John, you got to answer it as well. If you can ask Satoshi one question, what would it be?
I want to riff on this because I see this person in the chat, Twelter, says, did Satoshi see Bitcoin where it is now? And it's interesting because I feel like it was designed to bypass third parties. It was designed to, what do they call it, the Byzantine generals problem. It was designed to solve all these complex things that no one's ever done before. And I have to assume, based upon when Bitcoin came out, that Satoshi would have assumed that third parties would try to get involved.
Had to have.
And yeah. And I think today we're in this really interesting world where we have centralized solutions versus decentralized solutions. And I think Satoshi probably would have been certainly on the decentralized side. But I think that's almost a path to get there. So I don't know. This is probably an interesting question. It's almost like, what is the value of crypto? What is the value of Bitcoin? And I think one of the things that he would have hoped for would be utility. And I think there's a ton of utility being built right now. And so I think that's really exciting.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, we'll come back to you at the end and when we'll get your question. All right. We're going to add some more folks in here. We've got, let's see here. Boom. Arjun.
Hey. How's it going, guys?
Good, man. How are you?
Hey, Arjun.
I'm doing well.
So Arjun, you are the VP of Growth at Matic Network.
Yes, that is correct.
Welcome.
And
welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. And for those for the uninitiated, so Matic Network is a layer 2 scaling solution built on top of Ethereum. And yeah, we had a pretty wild ride for the past 3 months ever since our mainnet went live. We got like 2 million plus transactions, 120,000 transactions, a day. Several labs have blown up, so it's been pretty relentless for me.
Wow.
I've been sleeping a lot, but it's good times, and I'm very happy to be here.
Awesome, very cool. Thanks for coming on. Appreciate it, and supporting the 3rd birthday of Safe Haven here, and supporting us and the community and the charity. And I'm just going to put the charity link down there again for everyone in the chat. Make sure you get out there and donate, and then send a screenshot of your donation to admin@safetech.io, and we'll get that in the chat as well. So, Arjun, the question: if you could ask Satoshi one question, what would it be?
I think the number one question on my mind is like, if I ever met him, I'd be like, hey Satoshi, what's your private key? Like that'd be like my number one question.
I don't think
No, but
give it to you.
no, but I was just listening into the conversation, but definitely I think what Thomas talked about, and what Jon and Logino were also mentioning, I think the most interesting conversation would be that did he actually see or envisage crypto becoming what it is today? And sort of what is his vision of the crypto future, and things like that. I think that would be so interesting, and it's kind of sad, but also cool in a way that we have no idea who he is, and maybe he's sitting somewhere watching all this and just laughing to himself. So
Yeah, I hope so. It gives me faith in humanity to think that there is a person out there that is as disciplined as that, knowing that all that money and that potential power and that stuff is out there, and they're just like, nah, like it's already doing enough, and it's out there, and like that, like to have the confidence and everything in there would be really cool.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Could you imagine being the father of that brainchild and learning it from this little idea of writing code, and then now watching countries and states scramble over trying to adapt and either discredit or validate, or just the entire thing, just to watch the pin drop and the ripple from it in the water continue. Everything from regulation to ability to spend it, and then how it interacts with the current legal system and current monetary system.
No, definitely. I think that would be just, I cannot even imagine what that'd be like. I'm pretty sure I'd go somewhere and be like, hey, don't do this, or like, I don't know, like something. But just to have the discipline to not react at all is some zen level, like
next level.
Totally next level.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The thing is, Joe, do we want to know who he is?
No, absolutely not.
No. At this point, no. I don't.
I kind of like it right now. It's mysterious. I kind of like it. I don't want to know who he is, honestly.
Yeah, I think it's part of the power of the network. You look at you guys are talking about the ripple effects of what happened. It's not just Bitcoin; it's all of crypto that's been created because of this. And like, even think about Litecoin. It took Charlie Lee 5 hours to make Litecoin. That's it, 5 hours of coding. And he probably took lunch in the middle and a couple of coffees and made a phone call. And it's like billions of dollars created because of one small thing. It's pretty amazing.
Pretty amazing, yeah.
So Arjun, tell us, what did you change in 2020? What did you do differently? If it's a hobby, if it's a pattern, if it's anything, what outside of like working from your home, like what is something that you did for yourself that was different?
So I started playing acoustic guitar. So my wife bought me a guitar, and she was like, all of the stress you have, like, why don't you, start playing guitar and sort of getting that out, and kind of really helped actually. It was strangely, amazing, and yeah, I mean, I'd like to think over the past couple of months I've gotten decent at it. So it's nice, and I play now like probably like 30 minutes every day. So I think that's one thing. Apart from that, also like switched from like beer to wine to save on the calories, but it's not working. So it's I'm still trying to figure that out, but yeah, I mean, those I would say are like the two major changes, and also I kind of agree with you, like Joe, when you were mentioning that somehow like in this entire phase when we're at home, you kind of like you just end up working more. Like it's so difficult for me, like, and I'm sure it's for all of you, like to just like switch off, because when I was going to work, I'd come back and I'd just switch off, and I'd be at home. but now it's kind of difficult to do that. I don't know, like how are you guys managing that? Like,
well, it's a little different than, I've worked at home for long periods before, and it's definitely a different scenario when everyone else is working at an office and you're probably the 15 to 20% of the population that might be working from home versus maybe when that's flipped and 80% of the population is at home. Because I think, especially going through it and everyone goes through it, you could be heads down on something and then you like walk by, we're all still like, dads and, brothers and sisters and husbands and everything else. And you got to like do the dishes and you're like, well, I could do those right now, but I should be over here doing this and I should do this. And it's walking through your house. And then if you've got kids, especially, things are kind of bumping into. So I think it is, I think, healthy to get out of the house and if you can, but I don't know. I think long-term for most people, it's probably not the answer to stay at home. So it's like you said, you found guitar, right? And so you found another outlet, something that you can, it's almost like playing sports a little bit where you need to find something else where 100% of your mind is used for that other thing for even a short period of time. Because if you can't get 100% of your mind into something else, then you still are kind of holding on to that other piece. And so that's why it's important to do that.
That's a good way to put it. 100% of your mind on something else. That's the key.
Yeah, but that's not easy at all to do that.
No.
Just
like this is just small part, right? It's just always like going on in your mind that like, and I was looking at maybe I should like start meditating or something like that. Like try something like that. And I don't know, like I'll have to figure this one out. But yeah,
I actually did exactly that. So I have between like dealing with the million things on LunarCRUSH all day and crypto trading all day. It's like all crypto all the time. And I'm grateful for it. I feel good despite it being that busy, but I felt I couldn't sleep well. So I started doing some Peloton meditation. They have these classes for like 10 minutes at night and it's great. It's nice. It helps a lot.
Wow. I should definitely try that. Nice.
Yeah. And you always gotta like remind yourself though, that those little pieces of that you're holding on to and whether you think it's anxiety or not, it's really, it's a positive and a negative. It's like, your best strength is your greatest weakness as well. Cause those little things allow you to get a lot done, right? You're thinking of other people, you're thinking of other things. So it's good, but then you got to recognize that and realize that, you got to take the negative out as well. And that's what like the little tools are for. So I love it. I love that people are stoked about meditation in the chat too. Okay. So next question, what is the one question your family always asks you about crypto?
So I think the number one question I get asked all the time, like, is this legal? Like, so this crazy thing happened, right? So I'm based in India, right? And when cryptocurrency boomed and the government realized that, oh man, we can't tax this, right? So the Indian government has this very simple system that if they can't understand something, they ban it. Right? It's like it's a very default like ban button somewhere in the parliament. I don't know where, like you just press a ban button. So it got banned, right? And nobody knew what blockchain was. So like the cops were raiding exchanges, and these guys would like, this is a true story. Like they would walk in like, where is the blockchain? Like tell us where the blockchain is. And they're looking inside the cupboards and like they're trashing the place. Tell us where the blockchain is. Like don't mess with us. And programmers are sitting there like, dude, it's on the internet, and they're trying to have that conversation, and it's completely nuts. So I think like especially when I go and tell like people that Bitcoin is like $20,000. It was $3,000 6 months ago. Like, how's that even possible? Like, what are you doing? Like, and things like that. So it's still like with my family, I think they're still very entrenched in the centralized world. So that's like the number one question I get asked all the time.
I love it.
Right. I kind of dodged that question, but yeah.
No, it's good. I've been trying to come up with like a framework for like, how there's like the 7 stages of grief. It's kind of like the 7 stages of inception of crypto. And it's like, some sort of denial. Then it's like, is it illegal? This is for drugs. Like I'm going to lose all my money. And like, eventually you get down to like I'm buying this and I'm never going to stop buying this. And I want to work in this industry. So cool.
And then you need an inheritee.
Yeah. There we go. Working it in. All right, Arjun, man, we really appreciate you being a part of this and coming and talking about Matic a little bit and answering our crazy questions and going down the rabbit hole. So we really appreciate it, man. Thank you so much.
Love being here.
Tell Sandeep we said hi.
Oh, absolutely. And happy birthday too. So you guys are doing a great job, and love to collaborate with you as time goes on.
Okay. Thanks, Arjun. Take care.
Take care, guys.
bye.
All right, up next, we got Hans. Hans from the Digibyte Foundation. Happy birthday card.
Thank you, Hans. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having us. Fantastic. Love to be here. Great.
Cool, man. So tell us a little bit about what you're working on right now at the Digibyte Foundation.
Well, the Digibyte Foundation is well. Actually, we didn't have our birthday yet, so we started earlier this year, and we're still very much in the ramping up phase. That means talking to our community, get things into place, making sure that we do the right things. We're predominantly focusing at the moment on getting a voting system in place, which would be great, which we obviously want to do in a decentralized way in the blockchain. But apart from that, I think we're focusing a lot on the bridge building. And I earlier heard this conversation about centralized and decentralized. And obviously, that's also a discussion we have within Digibyte, our community, and the Digibyte Foundation. And we do see that, you know, the mountain needs to come to Muhammad, and and Muhammad needs to come to the mountain. So there's a bit of everything. So we also know that we have a fantastic blockchain, but we also need to be able to bridge that in a way towards real-world applications if you really want to drive adaptation. So that's also one of the things we work on. How are we going to do that? With who, when, where, and why?
Awesome. And so you guys got a lot of stuff that you're working on, and it sounds like you know, big. Like, what does the team look like over there that you're working with? Or is it, you know, is it very decentralized, working with different developers? Like, what does it look like with your kind of core team at the foundation?
The funny thing is, because some people ask me that, how can you be the chair of the Digibyte Foundation? How is that decentralized? Well, that's in a way, it doesn't sound very decentralized, but by law, the foundation is set up in the Netherlands. By law, you need to have a chair, a treasurer, and a secretary. However, we have not put any hierarchy in those roles, and we always ask our community for advice, and we seek approval of our decisions before we actually implement and execute them. So in that sense, we are fully decentralized. When it comes to working with developers, we do ask small contributions from the community, as Safe Haven has done as well, actually. Thanks to that, guys. Absolutely fantastic. Keep them coming. But we do ask small contributions, which we can convert into a bounty to our developers to launch all sorts of projects, and our community can vote on the projects, and they can also volunteer projects. And one of the big issues we're currently working on, obviously, is Digi assets, tokenization, as well as DeFi. We recently embarked on a project in which we actually developed the Rosetta protocol, which enables us to get listed on Coinbase. So there are a lot of community and development projects at the moment.
Okay, enough of the serious stuff. Tell us what it's like. The holidays are like. So you're in the Netherlands?
Correct.
So what are the holidays like there? Is it already snowing there? Is it cold? What's going on?
Well, actually, I was just reading the other day in a newspaper that someone said snow is a thing of the past, and we will never have a white Christmas again due to global warming. And well, part of me find that a bit scaremongering, and yes, we do have warmer summers, but you know, at the moment, let me tell you, the heating is on. I can tell you, so it's still a bit nippy. But Christmas is nice. We see a lot of people actually put up the Christmas tree. We had our Christmas tree up end of November already, so relatively early.
Getting it in early.
And yeah, but people want to get rid of 2020. I mean, so, bugger that 2020. You know. Go home 2020. We want something new, and I guess that's why we put up the tree early. It's just a symbol of you know, we want something fresh, something new, and we want to forget the misery we had the past year.
Yeah,
I think that's pretty accurate. I know in the U.S. over here, people started putting up Christmas trees, you know, mid-November, early November, just to get something different, to have the lights and you know, the sounds of a joyous, a more
correct
joyous time. You know, we've seen that over here too, and it's funny because, you know, we're worlds away, Netherlands, Belgium, Logino, you know, and the US, and we're seeing similar patterns regardless of where you're at,
Yeah.
even in terms of decorating for the holidays and trying to
Yeah.
move past what was 2020 and try to almost claw our way into 2021 to see if it's going to be a better year for everyone globally. You know, it's very interesting.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. So on to the first question. If you could ask Satoshi, Hans, one question, what would it be?
Well, actually, I wouldn't ask anything. And I think one of you guys just mentioned it earlier. To me, the mystery of not knowing who Satoshi is, I actually find fantastic. And although I want to demystify everything in the kitchen sink, you know, for Satoshi, I would like to make an exception. And, you know, we always talk about a decentralized doesn't have a single point of failure. Well, decentralization also doesn't have a single point of credit, right? There's no single point of celebrity in that sense. We are all decentralized. We are the community. And Satoshi having decided to make that sacrifice of staying anonymous and not saying, I developed Bitcoin, I wrote the white paper. And honestly, if it were me, I would be standing on the rooftop shouting, I wrote the white paper. You know, I wouldn't be modest. I honestly could not have been modest about it. I couldn't have been. So for Satoshi to have done that, I think, honest to God, I find it amazing. But you know, if you had to put a gun to my head and you know, you have to ask him a question, or him, or her, or they, I guess I would like to know, why did you decide to stay anonymous and drop off the scene? And that I think is the big mystery I actually would like to know.
No, that's good. I mean, we do have one clue, right? Like the Times 03 Jan 2009 chancellor on the brink of the second bailout for the banks, right? In that Genesis block. I mean, you got to think like that's the clue. And I can't wait for like the movie to come out about this one day, where I know someone's making it right now, and it's probably going to be the most epic, you know, movie that's going to just blow out the box office.
Yeah, John McAfee is not going to be the director. He's currently indisposed in Spain, I've been told. But
well, let's keep McAfee out of it, please. All right, and
I love this comment. I love this comment on the screen. We are all Satoshi, and you know what?
That's great.
Whoever Satoshi is, it doesn't even matter anymore. I love it.
By Vintoshi, right? So obviously Vintoshi likes that. So Hans, did you pick up a new hobby, or did you change anything in 2020 with what you were doing day to day outside of like just sitting at home all day and working and staring at a Zoom meeting?
Well, I was at the beginning of 2020. I was forced into Marie Kondo.
Oh,
it did not spark any joy whatsoever. I can tell you, none. Babkes, absolutely rubbish. Not my thing. So glad to get that off my chest. But no, when it comes to hobbies, actually, I've been watching a bit more TV recently, and Netflix and YouTube than I think the previous years. And sometimes you come into those arts and crafts kind of channels, and there's actually one thing, glass blowing, I saw the other day, and that's, oh my God, you know, I would love to try that, because that's, you know, just a big lump of something, and something really beautiful comes out. Although I'm pretty sure, you know, if I have a go at it, it will be the most hideous thing you've ever seen in your life. But I would love to try glass blowing, I guess. Apart from that, I've embarked on a PhD this year. Wow. And that has proven to be the dumbest idea I've ever had in my life, I can tell you. I mean, that's not for the faint-hearted. That's not something easy. That's not something, I can do it on a Monday afternoon. No, it's I'm actually having a PhD focusing on governance in the public blockchain. And for me, governance, I have a background in corporate governance, but I find governance in a blockchain is quite often omitted or an afterthought. And I would like to have it more center stage and more upfront. So that's why I decided to do a PhD on that. So that's my pet project for the next couple of years.
Yeah, I think that will serve you well.
So important.
Thank
you. Yeah. And then finally, what question does your family or friends always ask the people that are kind of out of the crypto sphere? What do they always ask you about the space?
Well, it's always about the moon or some other constellation. When is that going to happen? And I used to try to give a smart answer and say, well, Uranus. I was like, huh? What? But that doesn't always land very well, I must say.
Yeah.
But it's usually about when moon or what to buy, or did you get in early enough? And the funny thing is, I always try to steer away from crypto, because blockchain is more than just crypto. And I always try to have a little talk about why I got into it and why I like decentralization, and why, to me, decentralization is not technology. It's something of where we are at as a society. Trust, or the lack thereof, actually, is more or less what has driven decentralization, and therefore also blockchain technology, and also cryptocurrency, self-sovereign identity, zero knowledge proof. Decentralization will be the next big thing. So I always steer the conversation straight away to that, and then you actually have a quite engaging conversation. Even if you're half pissed after Christmas dinner, you can still have a nice conversation about that.
That's great. Yeah, and at the end of the day, money is trust, right? And that's what
absolutely.
We all
yeah, absolutely.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
Well, Hans, we really appreciate you stopping by here for the third birthday. We're going to bring Tim up on here.
Oh, one more thing, if I may.
Yeah,
if people noticed, I have this really nice lapel pin. Well, that is something we've developed within the Digibyte Foundation. So if people want to get a Christmas gift, ping us, and we're also happy to distribute a few among our viewers here.
Great. Yeah, we'll pick some folks that participated today, and we'll get them in.
Excellent.
Thanks, Hans.
Bye. Thanks, Hans.
Tim.
Hi, everyone.
How are you?
Hello.
Hi, Tim. Good.
Tim, normally I'm really good at pronouncing names, but anyone that has an X in their name, I'm not even going to try.
Yeah, I understand that.
How do you say your last name, my man?
It's actually quite easy. It's Dierckxsens.
Oh,
Dierckxsens.
Simple, Dierckxsens.
Dierckxsens.
Would have had
Got an X, man. I'm not. It's crazy, but cool, man. So tell us a little bit about yourself. You're the CEO, co-founder of our Arkane network. So tell us what you guys are working on.
That's an interesting question.
Yeah, what did you do this morning? Let's start there. No, I'm kidding. Just tell us a little bit about yourself.
It's been a very hectic and busy day today, but what we're working on is really being the middle layer solution between what a business needs, what a DApp needs, and what consumers need when they are going to be using blockchain technology. So in essence, what Arkane does is we are a multi-blockchain wallet provider. So we have both a widget and a white label solution for that. And we also add additional services like NFT creation and a marketplace service that we are bringing forward as well. Very much focusing on the gaming environment and to really get the game studios up and running and really building cool games on blockchain technology so that they can bring that out, use the technology and create those microtransactions around the digital items and bring that forward. And we have known Logino now, I think, 2 years, Logino?
Yeah, since the beginning, man.
Wow.
Since the beginning. Safe Haven has done one thing that we couldn't do, and that is really developing such a strong community around the Safe Haven Foundation, as I may call it. And this is one of the reasons why they are here 2 years later, pushing that forward. And what we did is we had to refocus and reshift and try to tackle everything from a service provider technology point of view.
Great. So you guys are you're kind of powering a lot of potentially a lot of different clients and the kind of the underlying layer of the wallets and the technology, and are brands kind of coming to you that are saying, hey, we can't figure this out. You guys have the expertise, you have the talent, help us stand up kind of our vision. And then you guys are kind of developing.
Yeah. It's the point where we had so many issues developing a DApp. One of the things that we used to be the founders of was a fund request, which was acquired by Safe Haven. Because here, this is the thing that they have done so well, is really drive the development of the application there on top of that. And we were always struggling, saying, okay, but businesses, are not going to be able to use a dApp like that. Consumers will not be able to use a dApp like that. And we see all the different dApps are building so fast and coming into and using blockchain, and most of them are struggling. And because we see the core infrastructure is not there available, and we said, okay, we have to put this on hold. We need to find and solve the missing pieces from a middle layer solution. And that is what we have been trying to do the past few years with Arkane.
Great. And so you've been around these guys for a while then. I want to know what Logino was like on day one of launching Safe Haven. Was he as calm and cool, as collected as he is now, or?
Actually, yes. He was.
I remember, Joe, 3 years ago, the guys from Arkane who previously had Fund Request, they just finished their ICO, if I remember, Tim, right? And we came to your office in Ghent, and we were just starting with Safe Haven. So the Fund Request Arkane team basically have been our mentors in the first month. They introduced us to people. They told us how to do this, how to do that. And I must say that 3 years later, if you go to charity.torblock.io, you can see Arkane Wallet integrated. If you go to My Safe Wallet, you can see the Arkane Wallet integrated. Last week, we released a message about the My Safe Wallet, basically the white label from Arkane we are using. So these guys are really building a trustable business. They are building a trustable solution, and we are really happy that we can integrate their solution into our products. And also a shout out to the Arkane guys. They have been one of the first projects who have been supported by the Binance Fund. So this also means that these guys are doing something that is meaning something to the crypto industry. So well done, guys. And I hope we can keep working together for the next few years.
Yeah, definitely we will.
We'll have to come back for the 6th birthday, and we'll do the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, 6, 10, 15, 20.
Yeah. No, it's great. It sounds like you guys are really building the infrastructure that our industry is being built on top of, and enabling people with a vision that might not have the expertise to do the technical knowledge, and making that happen. And I think that's a huge piece, kind of almost like a Shopify would do for any e-commerce store. If you've got a brand and you got a vision, you want to make it happen. So that's awesome. So on to the fun stuff. Tim, if you could ask Satoshi one question, what would it be?
Ooh, I was actually struggling with this question. So many questions.
I know you had a lot of time to think. It's almost like a bad thing.
Yeah. The first question I had was, are you Craig Wright? And I was saying, well, I actually know the answer to this question. Obviously, he's not. Then another one was, what did you think when the first person bought one pizza with 10,000 Bitcoin?
Yes, that's now worth hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah, indeed. And does he actually have somewhere his computer on a junkyard searching that and saying, okay, shit, where's my Bitcoin?
I love it. Okay, and then did you pick up a new hobby or change a pattern in 2020 with all this craziness? Like, what did you do to keep yourself busy during some of this time?
I think the same with all the rest. The only thing I keep busy with is work and family life. And I have the bad habit now of only getting off my chair for grabbing a cup of coffee, lunch, dinner, and using the restroom. So
yeah, well, you're not alone in that one. There's a lot of people that are, you're sitting there and suddenly it's like 10 at night and you're like, wait a minute, like all the lights are the same in the room. Like, well, I don't even know what time it is anymore. But that's good. You're building the future for the rest of us, and you're working on something really important. So I know if you're working that much, it means you're passionate and you believe in what you're doing.
I was looking at my daily step count. I don't know if you can see it.
100?
198 steps I did today. Beat that.
Wow.
You must be leaving your phone on the desk. There's no way you're only at
no. If you'd ask my colleagues, they know that this phone is glued to my hand.
Yeah.
We might need to check the accelerometer in that puppy. Very cool. And then, you know, what is the one question that you always get asked by people kind of outside of our industry about crypto?
What do you do, and how do I understand everything, and when is the right time to buy? Usually what I do whenever the question is, what do you do, and how does it apply? I have my personal spokesperson, my wife, and she answers the question for me. Because whenever I try to answer, you just see people going,
oh man.
And when she answers, it's perfectly fine. She puts it in layman's terms, everybody understands, and I can say, it's about right. Yeah, that's right.
John's laughing a lot over there. I feel like
this is me constantly. Yeah, my wife's way better at answering it than I am. I all of a sudden get technical way too quickly on accident. I just can't help myself.
Almost immediately. It's like, I give you the answer, and then why? My wife is the same way. She's like, you're just gonna tell them too much. They're gonna lose you. And I'm just like, oh, can you explain it? And I just get the nod, and I'm like, that right there.
Well, always try with an analogy of some sort, and then it's still like, no. Just probably whenever you start explaining, you get so passionate, and you go on and on and on. You don't realize you're talking for 1 or 2 minutes or 3 minutes, and the attention span is already just gone.
Yeah, it's like the first 6 seconds that matter in that. And you better grab them with that. If not, they're gonna gloss over, and you've already lost them. Mm-hmm. That's why I think, like, we always used to say, like, just buy it. Like, we don't even tell them, just buy like $5 in Bitcoin and just follow it. Just watch it. Just see what happens. And naturally, people start to look maybe at a little bit of news. They look at something like, oh, wow, it's up a little bit. Maybe I'll Google that.
Would you still advise them with today's prices?
Of course. I'm not saying buy a full one. I'm saying buy a little bit and then buy over time. But yes, it's a good way to get in.
Buy every week forever, an amount that you can always live with, and don't think about it. Don't sell it.
That's average approach, is buy an amount every week that I can afford without putting myself into a financial situation. I mean, look at what it's done. Look at the headlines everywhere: CoinDesk, Cointelegraph, CNN Money, Business Insider, Forbes. We're seeing all of these different financial names in banking and investments, and they're like 50,000, 100,000, and I'm like, well, 19, like Joe just said. Actually, now it's not. What is it? We're at 18.2. So 18.2. What Joe said is not that big of a deal if you've been reading the news on where people think it might go.
Yeah, but then you have your fundamentals, and then you have your TA.
Yep.
I want to throw something out there, because we posted it a few times, but I still see it right this second because I had to look. Despite us all being in this space and following along, the news volume is lower than it was 6 months ago right now.
Yeah, and that's crazy.
And it is crazy, but when you think of shelf space, especially on like major media outlets, it's full of COVID, it's full of politics, it's full of all the challenges of the world. They're not talking about Bitcoin still. And so this move is not there.
What happens when it comes back up to that 6 month point? Where it's in the news, because you're saying that we have less now than we did 6 months ago as far as news coverage.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it means more people are talking about it. It means more people are digging into it. More people are researching it. More people are buying it. More people are creating accounts on exchanges and all of that. We're not there. But the price is
it also means that 6 months ago, people were saying Bitcoin is dead, and there was a lot of fear in that case of it dying. So a lot of opportunity there to buy in at that stage. And I think what you're saying here is the all-time high of 19,000 is a new normal, and it'll fluctuate. It'll go down a little bit, but then you're just going to be looking into TA patterns, and then what is it going to be? Is it going to be a double top, or is it going to be a cup and handle? But the expectation there is 19K Bitcoin. Okay, I can see that.
Also, the thing is, we lost many people back in 2018. We lost people who bought at 20,000. thinking Bitcoin would hit 100K, 200K. And Bitcoin went back straight to 3K, like Tim just said, back in March, April. What was it, 4K, 5K? And many people lost faith. And we have to, it will take some time before people will start seeing or looking at Bitcoin. Like you said, Joe, we never hit all-time high in social media and stuff like that, Google Trends. It will take time, but it's crazy that we hit 19K already without even that. And I think that's because we see big companies starting to buy Bitcoin as a hedge against dollars, because what happened in 2020. And once everything COVID-19 stuff is behind us, we will see those numbers on Google Trends start going up again. If you look back in March, April, when basically even the stock market hit a big crash because of the Corona crisis, there was only one asset who came up on the previous levels as first, and that's Bitcoin. And that showed strength to even traditional investors as well. And these people are coming into our markets right now. But it will take time, but we have time, right? So
I think that's sort of what I was saying to John about, it being at a lower level of market saturation right now. When it comes back in 6 months, and let's say we get past the coronavirus, COVID and stuff like that, you're going to start to see those numbers, John, like you said 6 months ago, kind of come back. And then what's that going to do to the the market at that point? And again, I'll refer back to Joe in that situation is most likely 19 is not a bad point of entry, at that point.
Well, it's sort of like I almost hate the fact that we evaluate Bitcoin in conversations by price. And if we instead, but it's a narrative that people understand. And if we were to start to say it's really a measure of our trust on third parties or not. And it's a measure of network effect. And that price is just reflective of that network effect and the lack of trust on third parties. And if you kind of say, do we feel like trust in third parties is getting more or less? And if your answer is less, that's nothing but good for Bitcoin. It just means that price is going to do nothing, but that network is going to do nothing but keep growing. Right. Meaning price is probably going to keep going up because it's just a reflection of it. So it seems to be, when you look at the news volume, you look at the number of individuals on social channels talking about it, the macro backdrop, countries printing money, like you were talking about, like Michael Saylor, Bitcoin, the Bitcoin music videos and MicroStrategy and all this fun stuff. The backdrop is so amazing. Like, this is what we've talked about since Bitcoin started, and it's happening.
Right.
Yeah. I like some of the very philosophical, I know, very technical term of this is a couple of people, you guys talking about March and April, is when people are rushing out to buy toilet paper, you should be buying Bitcoin. Yeah. That's your indicator right there. So very cool. So I know we're coming up in the hour, but I did want to hear one more time from Logino and Thomas, and we're at birthday 3. What's the plan? What are we going to be talking about in birthday 4? Like, what else are you guys working on? I want to hear about it, and then
Logino, I'll leave that one to you, buddy.
Yeah. Mass adoption. This will be our focus in the coming year, integrating Inherity into traditional players into the market. We've been speaking to several of them from the US, Europe, and our goal is to make people use our solution, our Inherity solution, so they can make all the digital assets inheritable. We're speaking from Google accounts, Facebook accounts, LinkedIn accounts. I'm not speaking about cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, Ethereum. I'm speaking about pictures, everything you can think about, making people use the blockchain without even realizing they are using the blockchain technology. And this is our goal. And I hope that if we can sit down together in the next 12 months, like December 10, 2021, I can say to you guys, hey, we just integrated our first big company and we onboarded like 10,000 people. And this will be a huge success, honestly. And this is what we are striving for every day. And this is what we are doing.
Awesome. Well, we are definitely looking forward to it and appreciate you guys putting this thing together. I just put the donation link back down in there. So everyone make sure you get in there and donate to charity. That's for, the kids and the children that don't have as much, access to technology and hardware, so that they can get out there and keep learning and be our blockchain engineers of the next generation. So with that, everyone, Tim, Jon, Logino, Thomas, and everyone else that was on, thank you guys so much. This was awesome. I appreciate it. And we'll chat with you all backstage here in a second. And thanks for all of our listeners. We'll get in there and we'll pick a couple of T-shirt winners and we'll send these things off to you guys. So look out. Thank you guys.
Thank you.